of its focus on the library and the historic museum and other historic and cultural aspects of the focus of this park. And so that is something that the city will be addressing in the future. And a dog park was another that, although it was popular, was identified to need more space than is available at this small park. And so once again, that'll be something that the city will look to do elsewhere. Additional online survey results ranking the existing features at Luck Park. Some of the most popular responses are mature trees, open lawn, the historic Jim Jack cabin, and the historic fire truck. These are two concepts that were presented to the community, and the sort of the biggest moves between these are the location in alternative A. You can see that the stage is located, the multi-use stage is located closer to the library building, and the grass lawn is moving out towards the corner. In alternative B, the stage is up in the corner and viewing would happen from the library towards that corner. Another of the differences here is that in the top left corner, you can see there's been a structure added to house the historic fire truck, and the Jim Jack cabin is located in the bottom right corner near the entrance to the new expansion of the library for community uses. And in alternative B, the fire truck is located in that spot, and the Jim Jack cabin, it would have been moved to another site off-site. So let me get into some of the responses on this. We used Slido polling, and we determined that there were 23 people who joined the poll, and 91% of those live within walking distance of the park. And so in this first question, people were asked which of these options they preferred in terms of the stage, and A received 63% to 38%. So that is the stage being located adjacent to the library. And in this second question, in alternative A, secondary features focus on education, history, and culture. And in B, they focus on community uses and activating the park. These were closer, but 56% preferred activating the park to 44% focusing on history and culture. In this question, in alternative A, the fire truck is near the museum and the Jim Jack cabin is relocated to the orchard entrance to the new extension. In alternative B, the fire truck is near the library expansion and Jim Jack cabin is relocated off-site to the state park. And here you can see that moving the Jim Jack cabin off the site was not popular. And you will see how all of this feedback informs the next design that you will be looking at tonight. This was a zoom in version of alternative A, and we asked people in the community to tell us what do you like most about alternative A, and this is a word cloud. So these big words are telling you what people want to see: a stage, community space, walking loop, performance area. Those are the biggest words that are coming out. And again, these are things that influence the design that you'll see shortly. In alternative B, again, we asked what are the elements about this option that you like? And we're seeing multi-generational games were very popular. Relocate Jim Jack, not a fan, so not what they liked about it, but B was not coming out as being very popular. So moving forward, these are just examples of additional information that we gathered, documented, and then looked for consistent answers and feedback so that we would be listening to the community and incorporating input into the next iteration of design. Things that people wanted to see changed. And then just questions in general. And I added some text at the bottom here to summarize some of the issues we heard repeated: the lack of a basketball court or a half court, concerns about noise impacting residents, not enough opportunity for community input, and avoiding unsafe hiding places in the park landscape. I mentioned the situation with the basketball court, and the city would like to continue moving forward with that being located elsewhere in the community. Noise impacting residents from performances, that is something that the city would control through the type of events that would be allowed and the time at which those events would occur. So that is something the city would be aware of and taking precautions against. Not enough opportunity for community input. We were not originally scoped to attend this meeting, and the city manager asked us to add an additional opportunity for the community to review this concept and gain additional input from Planning Commission and from the community tonight. Avoiding unsafe hiding places in the park landscape. We understand that in the past it was more, there were areas that were overgrown, and we would be sure to have low growing plantings in areas to maintain safety and avoid unsafe hiding places in the future design. So the preferred concept, I know this is a lot of text on a slide, I apologize, but I just want you to hear kind of the summary that came out of all of the input that we have described so far. So the preferred concept includes a multifunctional outdoor gathering space with stage for performances, learning, and community events, with the stage near the library as preferred by the community. Activation of the park, including a walking loop and multi-use features, but no big exercise equipment. Modernization enhancement of the museum for the access to the restroom, accessible circulation and drainage issues, building expansion off of the library to support community uses, retain and relocate Jim Jack Cabin on the site and provide interpretation. Retain and relocate the fire truck and bell on the site and feature it as a historical commemorative element. Provide improved circulation, connections, and entries and ADA access throughout the park. Provide small and medium-sized picnicking and socializing areas and seating throughout. Incorporate interpretive educational features as they relate to history, culture, and nature. Provide open lawn for flexible uses, informal play, and performance viewing. Provide a natural informal play area for children, but no big play equipment. Provide additional street parking and pedestrian enhancements at intersections. Provide flexible indoor-outdoor learning spaces adjacent to the library and new community extension. Provide multi-generational activity areas like games, ping pong, bag toss, chess and checker tables. Provide low maintenance, low water use and or native vegetation, including shade trees, and highlight resource conservation efforts. Thank you for bearing with me on that slide. So this is the draft master plan concept, and I'll give you a tour of the major elements of this plan, and then we'll go on to look at some of the areas in a zoomed in view. So at number 1 is the performance area and bandstand. Can you see my arrow? Thanks. Number 2 is the flexible open lawn area. Number 3 is enhanced building entry plaza for the museum. Number 4 are interpretive elements. These are kind of hard to see, but there are these little discs located around the park, and these are just symbols to indicate where some type of historic or cultural interpretation might take place. 5 are multi-generational games. In this area right here is activated zone. 6 is a natural play area. Again, no big features, but located at the top of the performance lawn, open lawn area. And number 7 is the library entry courtyard. So this would be an improved entry courtyard that would access the library. 8 is a structure that would house the historic fire truck and have the historic bell. And 9 is a deck with shaded seating. And 10 is an outdoor reading nook. 11 is the walking path. 12 is the Jim Jack cabin with interpretive area surrounding that. And 13 is an orchard entrance into the new community space. And then around the edge, you can see that there's parking. There's angled parking added up on Tuolumne Street. So I'm going to focus in on a few of the different areas within the master plan. Performance area and multi-use space. It could be used not just for performances, but also you could have a family movie night or a fitness class held in that area. Natural play, again, not a big structured playground, but smaller elements, toadstools, log climbers, educational fossil example there. So here is a zoomed in view, and you can see where the stage could be set up here. There are shade structures attached to the building on both sides that allow shade sails to be run across over this area when needed, but they would be on cables so that they would not disrupt the view of the library. That's a really beautiful view of that window. And so those cables would be aligned below the arch, and the shades would be movable. This area could also serve as an outdoor classroom or a gathering place. And then the natural play area up in this corner, it does have a low wrought iron fence around it just to keep little toddlers from running out into the street. It would be open to the park on the other side. There are picnic tables, and it's located in proximity to the games areas. The historic interpretive commemorative features, there are all sorts of shapes and sizes that these could come in, but the idea being that this is a park that's really that is really grounded in the history of San Juan Bautista, and there's so much to share. And so being able to integrate that around the park seems like a great opportunity. Here's an example of where the fire truck would be housed. One option would be a building with roll-up doors. The fire truck could still drive out for when it's used. And you could roll the doors up when people are there to visit, or when there are special events, but they can be closed and secured to protect the fire truck after hours. Interpretive elements can be integrated into the area around the museum and the fire truck building. The Jim Jack, we proposed that the Jim Jack would be relocated to this new entrance to the community center, where it would be featured and surrounded with interpretation, so that it would be really front and center at this new entrance to the community center. Multi-generational games and gatherings, something that people wanted to see. Here's an example of a outdoor permanent ping pong table, classes, bag toss. There could be some small sort of fitness perhaps. Here you're zoomed in on this multi-generational area. There's picnicking nearby, the grass lawn area. These are checker and chess tables up on the deck outside the community space, a bag toss game, and a ping pong game. And here we are back at a view of the full site. And I know we'll have an opportunity for discussion, but I just want to provide an overview of the next steps. So following the incorporation of any of the comments and discussion from tonight, that will go into a preferred concept. And then we will come back to the community with a draft final master plan later this spring that will be presented to City Council. And ultimately, a final master plan will be developed. And then the city would take that out and use it to seek funding for the different elements, which would likely be phased, and which would then be designed in much greater detail through a design process for each of these elements. So right now what we're talking about is a very high level master planning effort, and trying to capture the information from the community and from Planning Commission, City Council, and staff. And so I will end this presentation and turn it over to you, Don.
Thanks, Melanie. A lot of details to consider. So Proposition 68 provides funding for projects with a robust community input. So the work here on the master plan is really a key component to being competitive for those state funds. And I've seen grants awarded for upwards towards $8 million from Prop 68 money. So this is the first step towards getting to that goal. So I appreciate all the work, and tonight, especially all the patience that everyone has had. And the whole point is to refine this further and to seek additional community input. And I believe, Trish, did we get feedback from the Historical Society and the Auxiliary Library? Did we want to share? Is this a good time to share that feedback now? Or it's up to Chair Delgado what you'd like to do. But we do have a written statement, I believe, from them from our meeting yesterday. So
okay,
with that.
Okay, why don't we wait for the commissioners and then we'll read those, okay?
Okay.
Or, yeah. Commissioner Jackie Lopez Morris, do you have anything to say? Commissioner Jackie?
Thank you.
Go on.
Yes, thank you, Chair Delgado. At this time, I have no comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair Luis Machan?
Yes, I just,
Okay.
this project is great. Congratulations.
Good. Chair David Maderos?
Okay, yeah, I mean, everything looks good. I think we're in the right direction. I'm pretty comfortable the way we've got it laid out right now. I'd like to hear more back from the public and see if there's anything we need to do here. I mean, I do have some ideas here, like if we're going to do the fire truck, and it's gonna be separated into its own building. Make sure that we have a viewable side where you can still see in, but you can't walk in, kind of a thing. As it's being displayed, even though the door is shut and what have you, you can still see in that thing too. One of my concerns is, looking ahead, how do we take ownership of this area to make sure it stays secure and safe for the public? This is one of my concerns on that. And how do we enforce that to keep it safe and all the upkeep that we on? I'm sure we're going to have staff on it, probably maintenance or whatever. But at the same time, we as a community, how do we take ownership of it and make sure it's stays safe and secure for all of us? In these days and times, things are critical. Safety and security is paramount, I think. And one other thing in the game idea, you have a beanbag toss there. I'd like to see that area be more flexible as to what you can do with that area and change it, maybe just a few changes, and all of a sudden you got yourself a bocce court or whatever, bowling alley, who knows what, something that would serve the different age groups and what have you at this point in time. The basketball court, I'm glad that that's not going to be, it doesn't look like it's going to go in. I think the idea there are plenty other locations that can serve that type of game. And if we put everything into this park, then it's going to take away from other areas that need more attention from the public when it comes to utilization, what have you. So that being said, I'd like to hear what everybody else has to say. And I'm glad we're going to be listening to the two, one from the gatekeepers, one from the auxiliary and library auxiliary, and a letter from the society, the historical society. So I'm glad we're going to go over that. After that being said, I think, I don't know what changes we're going to go from here, but I'm really pleased where we're at right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Maderos. My comments are, how many mature trees are we going to eliminate doing that expansion? That's one. Two, has there been a budget to find where that gas tank is before we start digging? Three, the parking is incorrect, the diagonal. And the bell, I thought that bell was going to go to the over there at the by the fire department. That's where that bell was supposed to be. Do we have another bell, David? Don?
No, just the one bell.
Yeah, that bell was designated for, we passed that, I don't know how much back we passed it, over a year when Friels was on it. And we had the, what was it? I can't, off my head, the men that were going to build it for us and put it where it was supposed to be.
The Clampers wanted to build it.
Yeah,
right?
so that bell is not belonging to that fire truck. And how much money do we have now for this? Is it all going to be a grant? And if we only get so much, what is going to stop the building of the extension or the, this is about, it's going to be a big task, a lot of money. And you said we can get up to on the, what was that grant that you were stating, Don?
The park money, right?
Have we put in for that grant yet?
No, this process is part of that application. So we need to complete this process in order to submit the application. So yeah, that's down the road. That's down the road, Chair.
Okay, so those are my concern. One, the gas tank needs to be found. And how many trees are you gonna, mature trees that you have now for that expansion of the library? And parking is incorrect. And the, like my colleague David, my chair Madero says, safety for the public. we have to enforce that. And what is going to be eliminated if we can't get all that money? And that's what I need, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Dawn, if it's okay, I could respond to the tree comment from Ms. Delgado, if that's
Thank
okay.
you.
That would be Chair Delgado.
I apologize, Chair Delgado. What's the symbols that are depicted on the plan, if that helps interpret the existing versus the existing mature trees or existing trees in general versus proposed trees. The symbols on the upper level of the parking lot and adjacent to the existing museum, they're shown as a light green color with a stroke on them that looks a bit like a peace symbol. And then the larger canopies adjacent to the existing library and where the proposed playground is on 3rd Street and Tuolumne. Those are all symbols of existing trees. So there was very little removals that we're proposing in this plan with the intent of maintaining as much of the existing canopy as we possibly could with the community use expansion.
So there's a mature tree in front of that library on Luck Master Plan. You're going to remove that large tree?
Are you speaking of the one adjacent to the number 9?
Well, it doesn't have a peace sign indicating that you're going to keep it. Yeah, it would be right here where number 3 would be. There's a large tree. There's a large tree there.
Correct. There's a total of 6 trees there. Only one of the 1, 2, 3, actually there's 7 is proposed for removal. And as Rochelle has explained, the owls like to nest there. So we were careful to keep the hardscape away from that and to maintain that landscape area as much as possible, as well as the area next to number 6. All of the trees that remain in that area are proposed to remain as well as next to the museum.
So you're going to remove
No.
7 trees or 6 trees?
No, we have not quantified the numbers for removal. I was just giving you a round number, and we would be more than happy to do that on the next round, Chair. But there's a lot of existing canopies to remain and very, very few trees to be removed.
I think it was confusing. Anna did not mean to say, it sounded like she said 6 or 7 trees to be removed at the end, but that's not the case, right, Anna?
Correct. I'm sorry, there's 6 or 7 to remain next to the number 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I apologize, Chair.
No,
I
no,
apologize.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
apologize
Okay. That's all I have.
about that.
Commissioners, is that all you, any more input from the commissioners? I'll take that as a no.
Not at
Trish,
this time.
go ahead.
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trish, can you read the emails and comments that were sent to the city on this?
Yes, so I have a report to the Luck Park Master Plan RRM stakeholders input meeting with San Juan Bautista Library Auxiliary and San Juan Bautista Historical Society yesterday, May 3rd. Committee members, all of the Historical Society was present, Don Reynolds and representatives, of course, of RRM. The library and the Historical Society are important stakeholders because the organizations began over a century ago. Meeting in the Masonic building as a reading group, the organization continued to evolve. The organization's developed its purposes and constitutions and has continued to support the library with its volunteerism and its fundraising. Comments including the desire to preserve as much grassy area as possible as it is a rare commodity in cities. Provide and preserve plenty of shaded areas. Provide an uncluttered visual impression. Maintain the Jim Jack cabin close to the museum. Avoid the use of concrete as much as possible. Use decomposed granite for walkways instead of concrete. Provide more grass and less concrete. Make sure that every aspect of the property is in compliance with the ADA. Keep in mind that this park will provide a serene, welcoming environment for an ever-growing and changing society. And then there was a second one to the Planning Commission Historic Resources Board from the San Juan Library Auxiliary and San Juan Bautista Historical Society. Thank you for this special opportunity to spend an hour with the staff and RRM associates yesterday and to be with you tonight. We represent the two charity organizations who have worked with the city since 1974. We, like you, are the volunteers who do the work to make the vision of Francesca Luck a reality. We do understand that we are still in the early stages of planning and that the actual design phase comes later. We understand we need more room now. Tonight we are in the library in the Luck Park, donated to commemorate Carl Martin Luck, who lived and worked here on the family property purchased from the estate of Dr. Charles G. Cargill, on the street to everyone, to San Juan Bautista National Historic District, and to the rest of the world, Highway 101. We intend to continue working with the city. Our main suggestions for the draft Luck Park master plans are: please continue thinking about the answers residents gave you for the questions asked last year, because those answers still reflect many of the questions in the original 1977 master plan for Luck Park. The Luck Park is now 42 years old. Be sure to remember the standards for any alterations to buildings considered historically significant will come before this commission. The Jim Jack Cabin building is the 141-year-old cultural connection to the immigrant families who came here to ranch and to farm. It is sponsored and owned by the San Juan Bautista Historical Society, a 501c3, with funding provided by all of us, including the Chinese community throughout the Monterey Bay area. The fruit orchard and vegetable areas in the draft plan can be used for consideration of locating the Jim Jack. The state park first denied its placement there in 1975 based on our not being able to place Jim Jack in the cabin before 1880. Proper interpretation of the Jim Jack by the Historical Society has been held up waiting for the city irrigation system to use recycled water. The Luck gas station is a 103-year-old cultural connection to the cement plant, 1917 to 1972, immigrant mining workers, and elected officers on the city council, school district, county boards, and their staff as well. Restoration funded entirely by Library Auxiliary Organization, Inc., 501c3, with the help of the VFW Post 6359. Sponsored and funded since 2000 as a museum for the City of History by the Historical Society. Ansar High School community service students did the work of organizing files and preparing displays, as well as digitizing obituaries in the San Juan Mission newspaper, which are coordinated with the Cemetery District sponsored archives. The site for the Dr. Charles Cargill Home/Hospital recalls a life well spent in service to his community, San Juan. It set a style for architecture here. The library building is a 42-year-old connection to all of us. San Juan Bautista property owners provide property tax funds, especially for our city library, as well as for the county's only other library. City councils and planning commissions met here until the post office moved to the Windmill Market in 1992. Social and technical support is given here for residents and tourists. Library Auxiliary/City sponsored youth programs are held here inside and on the grass. Halloween, Windmill Market, Monies, COVID Wi-Fi, school bus, and Zoom, etc. Specific suggestions: minimize clutter, maximize open space, managed by City Public Works. Minimize impervious concrete and rock paths, maximize pervious materials. Remember ADA access, especially to restrooms, open when the library is closed and the city is packed with cars looking for space. Remember the city's significant connection to the cement plant and the sidewalk repairs using historic approaches to sidewalks throughout the city. Minimize structures and equipment, maximize clear grassy areas because there are other park areas in the city. No basketball court. Work closely with the school district and state park to keep open their facilities paid for by our property taxes. No actual bandstand. Work closely with Teatro Campesino et al. Study the fire engine issue more closely. Returning the museum to its gas station use by the many automobile / gas engine organizations would provide an economic incentive. Reorganize VFD for the fire engine as a 501c3. Remember the equipment now available, especially for children in Veruti Park for use at the school and in new subdivisions. Please study providing space now or soon for the use of archived information originally housed in the library. Encourage city preservation material documenting the 1981 inventory to be put back into the library. Encourage the archives of the Historical Society to be returned to the library so the gas station can become a museum for gas station displays. We have documented all of our library auxiliary and historical society projects and will present a program in the Carl Martin Luck Library. Saturday afternoon of May 22nd, 2021 from 1 to 4 p.m. Open to the public as always. Thank you. Anne LaForge, President, Library Auxiliary, Valerie Eglin, Historical Society, Jeanette Horley, Library Auxiliary, Jeanette Schneiber, Library Auxiliary, Carl Vonk, Historical Society, Georgiana Goulart, both the Library Auxiliary and the Historical Society. And that's it.
Thank you, Trish, for reading that. And we're going to the public and we have Sherry iPad. So is that the only one that we have with the hand up?
Okay, yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, in the previous meeting, I suggest to have some street light around the park. It doesn't have to be a really strong light like yellow LED light, more historical looking. And earlier in the meeting, they talk about this is a quaint historical town. And I don't think this design really reflect that of this city. And this is a very prime location and very nice piece of park. And we should really make it more culturally instead of a playground. So I think with all the street light or some corner light up in the evening and put some camera on these lights is for the security. And then for the fire truck engine, we could have these safety glass, the garage roller. So it's see-through, you can see through, but it's also safety that people cannot break into the garage. It just, I think the whole concept, pack everything into one, like the playground, we have another park across from the community center. They have lots of toys and yeah, so, and there's so many small park for the toys and playground. So I think for the library, we really should think about this quaint historical town concept, because this design basically it's like a big city, every little corner of a regular park. That's just my personal opinion.
Thank you, Sherry's iPad.
Thank you.
You can lower your hand now. Thank you. Is Rochelle next, Trish?
Sure, we can hear from Rochelle.
Go ahead, Rochelle.
I'm actually giving comments from Vonda Guibert. She had sent them for the meeting yesterday, and I forgot to include them earlier today. as I should have. Her points of clarification. First, the Jim Jack cabin belongs to the San Juan Bautista Historical Society, who bought it and restored it. 2, the San Juan Bautista Historical Society wishes to leave the Jim Jack cabin where it is, or at least at Luck Park, not moved to the state park. 3rd, the volunteer fire department truck has been stored in the public works yard for years until a few years ago when it just suddenly appeared in the museum portico. We recommend that the truck be returned to the yard where it is safer. Children play on it all the time, and it had been protected under a canopy in the yard. 4th, our desire for the Luck Park is for ADA access from parking lot and sidewalk, hardscaping around the periphery for improved drainage, and sprinklers directed away from the museum. And 5th, regarding the Luck Museum former gas station, if possible, can we reactivate at least one of the 2 former toilets? Thank you.
Thank you. Trish, is there any more?
No, I don't think I see anything. I can't
Okay.
see.
Then then with that, we're going to close the presentation of the Luck Park. Thank you, ladies, for your review and the answers that you gave us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to go to item number 6, considering the resolution of the Planning Commission of San Juan Bautista approving and a conditional use permit to allow on-site sales and tasting of alcohol. Type 23 duplicate, the property located at 507 3rd Street, and then APN 002-30-001. The applicants are Sean and Franz Harris. I'm sorry.
It's here.
Franz Harris. You know, if it's not in a Latin form, I don't know how to pronounce it right. Don, I'm sorry. Don, can you give us any insight on this, please?
I won't speak in Celtic, right? I just wanted to, we had this introduction from the Fitzharris's Brewery 25 a month ago, and they promised this was coming forward. I'm so glad that it is. David has done the work on this, so I'll just stop sharing my screen and let David take over the presentation. It should be short and to the point. So with that, David, are you still with us? I hope. Yes, there he is.
I am, and I think I need to be able to share my screen. It says it's disabled.
Sorry. Okay, there you go.
All right, here we go. So as was introduced, this is, everybody can hear me, correct?
Yes.
This is the Brewery 25 conditional use permit application for 507 3rd Street, which is the old Mission Hardware location. The permit type is for a on-site alcohol type 23 duplicate for sales and tasting. It does not involve off-site consumption. I mean, they can sell it, but it's not off-site tasting. We're asking the Planning Commission to consider the conditional use permit to allow on-site sales and tasting of alcoholic beverages. Per section 1102-050, this application does require the Planning Commission to review the conditional use permit for the on-site alcoholic sales. And per section 1120-030, there are 3 specific findings the Planning Commission needs to consider and make prior to issuance. Those findings were detailed in the staff report, and I will cover them if the commission desires, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to say that they are detailed in the staff report. I do, again, as normal, want to note that the approval of a CUP for alcohol sales does not involve any structural alterations, additions, or changes to the building. As you will see in the packet, there's a site plan. The rear of the old Mission Hardware was used as a storage space, and that is where they will have their outside sales and tasting. I do want to remind the Planning Commission that a CUP approval does run with the land. It does not run with the business or the operator. So the CUP is transferable to subsequent restaurant or bar restaurant uses. Any new business that would potentially in the future move into the site if Brewery 25 does not occupy it, would not need a new CUP, but they would need to obtain an alcohol license from the ABC, Alcoholic Beverage Control. The project can be considered exempt through 15301 Class 1, which exempts the operation, permitting, leasing, or licensing of existing public or private structures involving negligible or no expansion of the use, and the granting of the CUP to allow the on-site sales and tasting will not involve the expansion of the existing structure. Staff does recommend that the Planning Commission grant the CUP request to Brewery 25 to allow them to have on-site and outdoor sales and tasting located at 507 3rd Street. And I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Thank you, David. Do you have anything to add on to that, Don?
No.
Don? No?
Um,
Okay.
I'm happy to answer any questions if they come up. So we're here ready to respond.
Okay.
And I
Commissioner
believe
Maleros,
that Sean and Fran are on to chime in if needed.
Yep, we're both here.
okay. Commissioner Maleros, do you have any questions, comments, and concerns?
Okay, I'm unmuted, right?
Speak.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've got some questions. Again, that area, similar to the other project that was discussed earlier, that is in the vicinity of an older building, old warehouse, and considered something somewhat historical as far as keeping it that way. That might be things that we need to think about. And plus the fact that the outside was improved, you know, the gates and the fencing and what have you, that looks a whole lot better. I'm hoping that was all permitted. The one other thing that I had was in that vicinity, as far as the activities that are concerned, was there any attempt to notify the community immediate on that street, which is, I believe, San Jose Street, 4th Street and 3rd Street? Was there any attempt to reach out to that community to let them know of the changes that were going to take place as far as businesses goes? And one other comment on my part would be looking ahead into the future. We're vacating one area, going into another area, which is fine. My thoughts are, what are we doing to make sure that the vacancy that they're leaving is going to get filled somehow, somewhere? Maybe that's in the plans too, who knows? So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Maleros. Okay, Commissioner Luis Machang, do you have anything to comment?
Yes,
on?
well, I think it's a good option to revive that part of the town. I think it's a great project, and
Yes.
to me, we need to support this project. I like this project, and I will love to support this project. I really love it. I'm really in favor for this. And thank you for keeping investing in our town.
Thank you, yes. Thank you, Commissioner Luis Machang. Commissioner Jackie Morris Lopez?
Thank you, Chair Delgado. I am sorry, I'm gonna claim asleep at the wheel here. I missed this packet, part of the packet in the numerous pages of staff reports that were provided. With that being said, there is an action presented to us, correct?
No, right now we're just giving comments, concerns, or questions right now. Do you
Okay.
have any concerns,
I guess-
comments?
I guess basically this is a mixed use zone, correct?
Correct.
Commercial. So this would fit into the commercial scheme of things. And then also application for an ABC licensure would come from the business owners, not the property owner, correct? And then, of course, that question we all always ask, what about parking? But I like the idea. I think it's a great venue. That warehouse kind of reminds me of another brewery in Santa Cruz County. So those are just my, I guess, comments. Thank you.
Trish, did Commissioner Baines leave?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think that you were seeing Pat Baines.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't think that Dr. Baines returned.
Okay, you're right. Thank you for that correction. As for myself, I agree with the commissioners. This is great that Sean and Fran are reinvesting in San Juan. They had some tough times, not only them, but other businesses. What they presented to us last meeting was phenomenal. And as far as Commissioner Madero said, David, was that all permitted? And do you know?
As far as I know, there is no existing code enforcement violations on the site.
Okay. So, I would be glad to support this, like my Commissioner Luis Maschén said. They've been excellent for the community. They follow the rules. They've been supportive. They've allowed students to use their Wi-Fi for free, which, that's a plus. They've allowed other businesses to use their parklet when they couldn't use it. So they believe in giving back to this community. And yeah, I would support this and I know they would follow the rules and the ordinance that we had. They would follow them 100%, 110%, because that's the kind of people they are. So thank you on that. And that's all I have to say. So is there any letters, Trish, or comment that were mailed in on this?
No, I did not receive any emails on this.
Yeah. And the brewery that's going on, like Jackie says, it's mixed use, just like the one that they want to build down the street that we spoke about earlier. And, I think everything's legal here myself. And do we have any public comments?
Yes, Cara Vonk would like to speak.
Okay, Cara, go ahead.
Thank you. I just don't have a hand.
Hold on, Cara.
Okay.
Are we timing, Trish?
Sure, yes.
I'll be brief. I just have a question. Will further conditions be imposed on the business, like times and music, decibel, because it is in a residential neighborhood as well. And then I think I saw somewhere that there might be food trucks, brought in. I mean, I love going and drinking beer and having a good time, but it is in a residential community. So I'm just wondering if there will be further conditions of approval on this particular business. Thank you.
Well, so is Hardina's. So is all the breweries down 3rd Street are by residential. So,
and I'll just add that we have started talking to our neighbors, our new neighbors, and are working on scheduling a meet and greet so they can come to the area and ask us questions. And our operation has always been, we close at 8 p.m. We're not the type of business that's going to go beyond that. We send them to all of our other wonderful businesses. And we have already been doing pop-ups with food and want to continue to complement our food and beverage that we have in our area now. So we're definitely all about our business community and our neighbors.
Okay.
We have a good reputation for the last 4 years in our current spot, and we definitely don't want to tarnish that or ruin that. So it's important to us.
Yeah, no, you've been great. But what about, that liquor license runs with the land, as was explained to us. So, I'm just wondering If,
And it's a beer license. It's not a liquor license. It's
okay, I'm
spirit.
sorry, I used the
Beer.
wrong term, but yeah.
Beer. Yes.
Okay.
Actually,
So
manufacturer
anyway,
license, so different, but
I mean, there is another establishment in town and they have their music blaring, you know, well into the night. And so I'm a little bit concerned about that. Anyway,
Okay.
um, you know, we frequent your place and, or have, and you do a great product. So I don't want to complain about anything too much.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cara. David Mack, did you have something to say?
Well, I was just going to try to address all the concerns from the commission and the public, but it looks like there's another public member with his hand up.
Okay. Jim? Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for providing an open forum to support Sean and Fran. So I've known Sean and Fran since Hollister Hills Brewing. They were excellent stewards of that space in Hollister. They've been excellent stewards of their space in San Juan Bautista. Hollister's loss is San Juan Bautista's gain. And I think they're going to make excellent use of a site that could use some improvement. And they will clearly work within the requirements and boundaries the city requires. So it's refreshing to hear that there's overall support for this project. And I would encourage you to approve the conditional use permit. Thank you.
Is there any more, Trish?
No, I just see David Mack and that's the only hand up.
Okay, and with that, I'm going to close public comment. Go ahead, David Mack.
Thank you. So Commissioner Maderos asked about notification of the neighbors. To supplement what the applicants, Sean and Fran said, the neighbors weren't directly noticed, but the city used the normal notification for any other project within the city. It was publicly posted, it's been advertised, and this is a public hearing. So the neighbors have had multiple opportunities to chime in. With regards to the pending vacancy of the current location, I think it's a very legitimate economic concern, but it's not a deciding factor that should be considered on conditional use permits. From my understanding, Brewery 25 will, at least on a temporary basis, maintain both locations. I'm sure at some point they may choose to move into the bigger location permanently, but that's their discretion. And I don't think that the Planning Commission's purview is to make them determine how to fill that vacancy. And then in terms of conditions of approval, there are 7 conditions of approval that are recommended with this. This is mainly in response to Cara's conditions. The first is that, and they're in the packet, the first is that prior to commencement of alcohol sales, they need to obtain their ABC zoning affidavit from the city, which they're working on. Prior to commencement of alcohol sales, the owner applicant shall submit proof of a finalized type 23 duplicate license, which they're working on. Prior to commencement of alcohol sales, they shall post signs within the tasting areas and near the border of any outside tasting areas that states clearly no consumption of alcohol outside of the premises. The 4th condition is no permanent exterior alterations, including paint wall, fences, etc. That would require a separate site and design review application if they get to that point. However, non-permanent seating, tables and chairs, high top tables, or other furniture may be placed at the start of each business day, but must be removed and stored upon closing each day. No sign shall be installed without a proper sign permit. And then number 6 is no outside entertainment, including live or recorded music, shall occur on site unless approved by the city with the appropriate permits. And finally, number 7, food trucks may be parked on site to provide food service if the food trucks are parked fully within private property and not located on any city street or right of way. And the food truck operator is required to show valid proof of a business license and all permits required from the San Benito County Health Department. So we tried to address all of the concerns I could think of. And I think that with those conditions of approval, they have a fair chance of operating successfully with this site. And that's
Thank
it.
you, David Mack. With that, I'm going to bring it to the commissioners. And we're going to Do I have a motion to approve? There,
We have a and there is a resolution.
yes, I saw that on page, where was, I just had it. Oh, yes.
Want me to go ahead and introduce it?
Yes, please, David.
Okay. A resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of San Juan Bautista approving a conditional use permit, a CUP, to follow on-site sales and tasting of alcoholic beverages type 23 for the property located at 507 3rd Street, assessors parcel number 002-130-001.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Luis seconds. Could you take a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilmember or Commissioner Baines is absent. Commissioner Machane,
I say yes.
Commissioner Maderas,
Absolutely.
Commissioner Morris Lopez, Jackie Morris Lopez,
Yes.
and Chairman Delgado.
Yes.
All members of the commission being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes 4001 with one absence.
So what is the number, Trish, for this?
I was looking for my list. I think it's resolution 6, but
Okay. I'll just.
I'll
call
make
me-
sure it's right in there.
Okay. Thank you. Congratulations, Brewery 25.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
going.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good work.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And let's go now to 6B, considering approval of the combined development permit APN 002-46-002, the applications of Catherine Kane Zavala and Jesus Zavala.
That item is, sorry.
Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
That item is actually that was the JJ's Burgers. It was publicly noticed before it was just a discussion item. And that item is being continued to June 1
Okay.
or later.
Okay, we're gonna move down. Okay, and that brings us to action item 7A, considering recommending to the city council amendment of ordinance to increase fence height and minimalizing highway and non-residence use impact and prohibit locators closer than 3 feet to a fire hydrant. Take it away, Don, or is it David who's gonna do it?
Thank you, Chair Delgado. No, this was Deb's item at our previous meeting, and we had a robust conversation. And the takeaway for staff was the definition of which properties were allowed to have fences taller than our current ordinance was too vague. There was concern expressed that there would be tall fences downtown, other concerns. And so what we did, I think our attempt was to follow the commission's recommendation, limiting tall fences to only houses, properties adjacent to the State Highway 156. So we took a broad definition, which would allow them in other places, and narrowed it down specifically to Highway 156. We did leave the provision for the fire hydrant so that there's room to access the fire hydrant for public safety purposes. And with that, we're proposing the amended ordinance to be approved tonight and sent to the city council for consideration. And that's
Okay.
all I have.
Okay, Louise Machane, do you have any comments, questions, or concerns? Commissioner
No,
Machane? Nope.
no, I think, well, my question or concern was, exposed last time.
Yes,
I think I'm okay.
okay, thank you. Commissioner Jackie Morris Lopez, any questions, concerns?
Last question, just to recap. So we're approving the recommended amendment to the ordinance to allow the fence heights to be increased for the properties that back up against the Highway 156. We're not talking about yards, side yards, correct? It's only those that are the rear yard.
David,
Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead,
Yes, that is the intent. That is the intent, Commissioner Lopez.
Thank you,
Okay,
manager.
thank you. Commissioner David Maderos, do you have any questions, concerns?
Yes, just to say thank you for the staff and the general public for working on this together in such a way that it was rewritten
Yes.
on this day to accommodate what everybody felt was the right thing to do for San Juan Bautista. So congratulations to everybody who's done that. I'm in total agreement with going forward with this anytime we're ready. Thank you.
Yes. As for myself, thank you for listening to us. Thank you for awarding appropriately. And kudos to you all at the City Hall. Thank you, commissioners. I agree with this as well. It'll eliminate noise, lights in bedrooms and whatnot. So now, Trish, do we have any letters on this?
No, I did not receive any emails or
Emails, okay.
communications.
Okay, I'm gonna open up to the public. Anybody who has their hand held?
And I did not
Lara.
see Cara.
I'm sorry. I just have two comments. One, I think neighbors should be given notice and an opportunity to comment because these very tall fences can have a visual impact. And then also, what about the height? You know, how high can these fences go and do they have to be engineered if they're beyond a certain height? And then my last comment, you know, I was quite involved with the Highway 156 expansion and all of that. And there was a gentleman who was assigned to San Juan Bautista to deal with that project. His name was Richard Rosales, and he's with Caltrans Division 5 in San Luis Obispo. And I'm wondering if we can get Caltrans to put up some kind of a sound wall as part, maybe piggyback it onto their Highway 156 expansion project. And I'd be happy to give him a call. I mean, he got to know our community pretty well, even though we were very upset with the project. So, and he may be retired by now, I don't know.
Oh,
But, you know, I mean, if there's an issue, maybe we should try to resolve it in a more permanent way. And then I do strongly believe that neighbors should be given notice and an opportunity to comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Cara. Any more?
No, I did not
Okay.
see any more hands
What's that?
raised. Oh, David, well, David.
Yes, David. I was gonna come
Okay.
back to us. Go ahead.
Yeah. Am I still on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, thinking of, I like what Cara said about getting involved with the Caltrans. You know, if we're going to look at that, maybe we can look at the fact that what do you call it, aesthetically pleasing walls. And not only that, can we put a wall that commemorates the city of San Juan Bautista, its historical history when it comes to missions and stuff like that. So I've seen a lot of bridges, I've seen a lot of walls that commemorate pioneering days and all this other stuff. Why can't we put a wall if it's going to be a hindrance when it comes to looking at it? Why can't we put something on it to commemorate our city as well? Could be a gateway type of view that we put on the wall,
Okay.
you know, particularly in that area along 156. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Any more comments from the commissioners? I take that as a no. Does anybody want to put up the ordinance? Did you put one in here, Trish? Is this it? Because you have Exhibit A on there.
So that's just an exhibit to the staff report. There is not a resolution. You can just make a motion to recommend this to the city council.
Okay. Does someone want to make a motion?
Chair Delgado, this is Commissioner Morris Lopez. Considering that we did hear some valid commentary by Cara Vonk, do we want to include new wording in that proposed ordinance to include engagement of a neighboring properties to the prospective built-up fence?
I don't think anybody's the neighbors behind 156 residents. It would be just the highway. That's one thing. Don, do you have anything to say on that? You had your hand raised?
I do, thank you. As I recall, I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but this was a process whereby we would send out notice, and if we didn't hear any concerns or complaints, then we would move forward with the process. That way we could approve these ministerially. We wouldn't necessarily have to require the commissioner or other people, public input on the project. So that's the way Deb had proposed it, that we would send notices out and that we wouldn't issue any building permits until we were certain that enough time had lapsed that an appeal period, if you will, had been exhausted. And I thought that was a pretty clever way of including the public and giving them notices, as Commissioner Madera suggests. That is already in the ordinance. Secondly, yes, it will require a building permit, which means that the height and the engineering of it will be tested and evaluated for safety and wind shear, as last weekend demonstrated. High wind shear coming off the highway can be a concern, and safety is a concern. So it would have to have adequate footing and adequate structure to withstand that. And that is still a requirement. We can't waive the Uniform Building Code on projects like this. So they will require that the safety inspection and the engineering plans be submitted for building permit.
All right.
In terms of contacting Caltrans, we do have a meeting scheduled with the Caltrans project team for the Highway 156 bypass in the next month or so. This has come up with the residents on Copperleaf and San Juan Highway. So we will have an opportunity to meet with Caltrans here in the near future, and I can add certain things to the agenda so they have the right people present.
Thank you, Don. So could we have a motion to pass this on to the city commission,
Council.
council? I'm tired. I've been up real early today. This is my lunch.
Sorry, I'm sorry. It's been a long
So
night.
can we have a motion to pass this to the city council?
Well, if nobody's gonna speak up, I might as well speak up. Anybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, an ordinance of the city of council of the city of San Juan Bautista, amending the San Juan Bautista Municipal Code, chapter 10-1 to revise section 10-1-505 to include an increase in fence heights if needed to mitigate the noise or provide screening from adjoining highways or non-residential use, and to prohibit fences closer than 3 feet from a fire hydrant. And this is to recommend for the approval of the City Council of San Juan Bautista.
I second that.
All right.
I second.
Trish, could you take a roll call, please?
Yes, Commissioner Baines is absent. Commissioner Machain,
Present. Aye.
Commissioner Maderas,
Yes, if all walls are aesthetically relevant.
Commissioner Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Chairperson Delgado.
Aye. Yes.
All members being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes 4001 with 1 absence.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go real quickly. 7B, acceptance of the recommendation from the Historic Rescue Board and appoint Chair Maderos to represent the HR, and to appoint Chair Delgado to the representative of the Planning Commission to serve on the City Council Public Safety Subcommittee. Don, do you have anything?
No additional comments, Chair.
Okay, thank you. David, do you have any comments?
Nope,
Thank you.
I'm ready and willing to participate in the committee, if
Thank
that's
you.
so be it for the Planning Commission.
Thank you.
And I'm equally feel good about you being part of that too as well,
Thank you.
Commissioner Delgado.
Okay, Commissioner Maderos. Commissioner Machin, do you have anything to say? Luis?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jackie Lopez Morris?
No, congratulations.
Thank you. I too thank you for putting me on this subcommittee. I'm excited, and it's heavy on my heart about the safety of San Juan. And I know David is a good colleague to have on here. So thank you. And do we have any public comment?
No, I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. Do we have a motion to pass this on? Do we have to pass it to the city council, Don?
Yes, and we're having a special meeting a week from tonight, in case you're up for another meeting.
Always. Always.
To get their input and feedback.
Okay. Can we have a motion to pass this? Luis or Jackie?
Yes, I propose a motion to accept action item B, the recommendation from the HRB board, and appoint Chair David Maderos to represent the HRB, and that it also appoints Delgado to represent the Planning Commission and serve on the City Council's Public Safety Committee.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Can we have a roll call, Trish, please?
Commissioner Baines is absent. Commissioner Matchane,
Aye.
Commissioner Maderas,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Chairperson Delgado.
Yes.
All members being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes 4001 with 1 absence.
Thank you. Okay, then moving on to 7C, accepting the recommendations from the Historical Resource Board and approve resolution accepting certified local government report of October 1st, 2019 through September 2020. And there's a resolution on that. Do we have anything from from you, Don, to say anything?
No further discussion from me or David. I think.
David, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns?
None at this time, thank you.
Commissioner Matchane, do you have any comments or questions or concerns?
No, I'm good. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jackie Morris Lopez?
No.
Thank you. Could we have a motion to pass this resolution? I'll make a motion to pass the resolution. Can I do that, Don?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to pass.
Thank you.
Resolution 2021-XX, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of San Juan Bautista approving the 2019 and 2020 certified local government's annual report. Do I have a second?
I
Got a
second.
second.
Okay. Trish.
Good job, staff. Good job, staff.
Good job. Trish.
Commissioner Baines is absent. Commissioner Matchane,
Aye.
Commissioner Maderas,
Yes, good job.
Commissioner Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Chairperson Delgado.
Yes.
All members of the commission being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes 4001 with Dr. Baines absent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to, we moved up 8A. Now we're going to go to 8B, update by city planner and status on parklets and the city budget.
Yeah, and thank you very much. And this is only going to take a few minutes, so hang in there with me. We've been working hard with the business forum on Wednesday mornings, 44 or so meetings now. A lot of that focus has been on the future of parklets, and they remain popular, real popular. In fact, one business owner is offering her parklet for community use. She spoke at Rotary recently, the public seems to really enjoy them. They're attractive, etc. Whether or not they would be permanent is another question. And we've been going back and forth, and I've heard the mayor say in some of these meetings that they're not permanently permanent, that type of thing. So we've looked at other cities. We've looked at different types of permits that are used. We used an encroachment permit and we added design guidelines to that. And one city, Morgan Hill, has a similar process with annual renewals. So we're heading towards revising our guidelines and heading towards annual renewals. But I wanted to share with the City Council some major budget items to look forward to. I'm going to present the budget to the City Council May 18th. And in that will include funding for a Main Street master plan. And this is the major, this is the beyond 5 years, what will Main Street look like, and what kind of really, you know, bricks and mortar and infrastructure changes do we want to see. It's important to have, this would be a 3rd Street master plan, of course, not a Main Street master plan, but that's what, that's the nature of it. Building the heart of your city around 3rd Street and what's that future going to look like. So eventually you might see something like that supersede the parklets themselves with a permanent 5-foot wide sidewalks, for example. We asked Harrison Associates to prepare a rough estimate of what that would cost. I'm looking at a general fund savings at the end of the fiscal year that could handle a $100,000 budget for that. That process would take up to 18 months to plan and design with the community and for the community. So that's why the parklets would fill that gap, that interim step of up to 5 years. Goodness sakes, I could be gone in 5 years, or you could kick me out of town and we could change our minds and just have parklets forever. But I think for the wooden structures, if they are, that's a pretty good return on investment for those. So that's kind of the direction, at least in my mind. And I know, speaking with the mayor, we've had these conversations and with the business community, and some of them are on this call still, they've hung in there. So I'd love to hear their opinions. And just quickly, this is a project I worked in Salinas, and this is the 1937 upgrade of the sign. And I just wanted to share this with the Planning Commission tonight, because here's an example of super wide sidewalks. Everything is flat and ADA accessible and smooth. So that if you want to have a food festival, you want to have booths out here, it's easy to do. It's welcoming that community. And what's most interesting about this slide is this right here is the parklet from Patria's restaurant. It's still there. And it has that kind of like, you know, when COVID goes away, maybe my parklet goes away because I can put chairs and tables out here every night and entertain folks every night out there. But the important part about this is that this is Salinas. This is not San Juan Bautista. And I've offered some training to members of the HRB in particular, so noted that we need to have more training opportunities about what a historic Main Street design would look like. And this is an example from the National Preservation Institute, and the city will pay the $100 for the HRB to go in and take this training. It's really important to notice. I'd never, before sitting through this training, I never realized the importance of a curb and a sidewalk. So compared to this environment, right, it's very sterile. This is more like the small community that we live in. This is, or maybe you just have a swale and you don't even have the sidewalk. But we do have sidewalks, and so there's an important aspect to them. And I heard Cara mention it earlier with there's a lot of concrete in our town that came from that 1917 concrete plant. And so in this training, in this National Preservation Institute training on historic main streets, they even talk about the coloration of the sidewalk itself and how it lends to the historic nature of your facades in your downtown. So I don't know if I recommend necessarily something this sterile, but it just shows you some of the potential and some of the ideas that we need to bounce around in a master planning process for 3rd Street. And it really is about building the heart of our town and improving it and updating it. So it's a timely process in which the parklets can play an integral role in bridging the gap towards saving the money to make this substantial change to our downtown. So this is a part of the budget that I'm going to ask the council to consider. I'm also going to ask them to consider funding for a general plan amendment related to the sphere of influence and the work we'll start doing on the urban growth boundary. And then of course the safety committee recommendations need to be funded to be implemented. So I wanted to share those budget considerations ahead of moving towards the council. because they're important to the Planning Commission and the Historic Resources Board. We will be interviewing 3 candidates for the Community Development Director position on Monday. And so we look forward to that. Chair Delgado has offered to serve on that committee with the mayor and vice mayor. We also have a community panel that will be helping us. So there'll be 2 interviews for each of the 3 candidates. I think we have some strong candidates to consider. So I'm optimistic that that person will come on board in time for our new fiscal year budget and help us implement some of these cool programs. So that's all I had to share under 8B, Chair Delgado. It's exciting stuff. It's an exciting time to be in downtown San Juan Bautista. Maybe the bars will still be open when this meeting's over. I don't know.
Fran, are you in town?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So do any of the commissioners have any comments? Commissioner Luis Machain?
No, I think it's okay. I just you know, I love this project, and I just like what we are moving or pointing in this, you know, in this project. I like how it's moving this project. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Luis. I remember 2 years ago, we were discussing that, and when we were sitting down at dinner, we drew something, and now it's in full fruition. Thank
Oh,
you.
yes. I think well, hopefully we can move forward in this project.
Yes.
I will love it. Yeah,
Yes.
I think.
Commissioner Jackie Morris Lopez?
No comment, thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from the public? Trish?
Oh, no, I don't see any hands raised.
All right, thank you. With that, I'm going to close discussion item 8B. And I'm going to go to the comments 9A, the Planning Commissioner. Jackie Morris Lopez, do you have anything to say? Any comments, concerns?
Just want to say thank you to staff and the public and my fellow commissioners and HRB members for your patience tonight. We had a few glitches. We had a lot of material, a lot of important stuff. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that attended and look forward to the next meeting. And everyone have a good week. Good night.
Thank you. David Maderos, Commissioner David, do you have anything to say?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Again, not really, but yeah, repeat everything that Jackie had mentioned. Yeah, thank you for your patience. Thank you, Trish, for the hard work you put in, even though we had so many glitches to deal with tonight. You handled it marvelously. I want to thank all the presenters that came forward.
Yes.
They are super people that we need to see more of. And of course, the staff themselves, David and Dawn, everybody that had anything to do with tonight. Thank you. You guys did a real good job.
Yes.
I know it's a long meeting, what have you. Hey, it was worth it. The only thing I have a glitch about is we need more public response. We need more participation from the public. That's just about it. Other than that, again, thank you. Good night.
Good night. Luis, Commissioner Luis, you said no, you already got to you, right?
Yes.
See, I'm tired already, man. I've been up since 3.
Yeah,
But,
thank you so much. You know,
okay.
I don't have problem. I'm you know, I just usually sleep really, you know, I'm late night guy, but you know, I thank you so much. Thank you so much to the staff, you, Don, Trish, you, everybody. You did a great job. Thank you for the report. It was great. And thank you everyone for attending this meeting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you know, I piggyback on the commissioners that said, thank you, Don, for making it, adapting and overcome, just like the Marines. Thank you for, you know, losing like all the glitches. Trish, you came through with the phone and it was a horrible night. Commissioners, thank you for your commitment for this. You know, it's a long night. We like to.
Don't forget the board members.
Oh, Where are they? They went to bed already. All the commissioners, thank you all. I don't want to prolong this, but the staff, thank you for listening to us. For what we want. Thank you, David Mack, and everybody that's made this night possible, and the presenters like Commissioner Madero says. And with that, the city manager and city planner, do you guys have anything to say?
No, thanks. I'm good.
Don,
I'm good.
you're
I'm
good.
hungry.
No, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn at 10:26?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
I second it.
Do you have a second?
Yes, I
Yes,
second.
I did. I second.
Okay, let's go. Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Good night, everybody.
Good night. Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Thank
patience,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Great job.
Great job.